Hello.
Welcome to class. We're going to get started in standing today. So everybody get. Today we have Bobby with us, and Gavin as always, and puppy dogs, which as always it might be a little chaotic in the house with all the dogs, but we will do our best. So today's practice, we're going to try to ground and take some of the heavy energy of the week and use it in a productive way to refresh, right? A lot of conversations this week have been hard to have, and they've been important to have, but we don't want to burn out, right? We need to figure out a way of keeping ourselves going and healthy and practicing self-care. So a big part of this practice will be just giving yourself a little bit more back so that you can continue to be an ally in the fight for the Black Lives Matter movement. So as you start standing, right, we're kind of jumping into it. That way it's a little less closed off. I would start in a position that's comfortable to stand in. So about hips width distance works, bending the knees a little bit. I'm going to do hips width distance. You could do together as usual with your stance if that makes you more comfortable, like it gives you something to push into. If you're doing hips width distance, it gives you more ability to kind of shift your weight if you like the moving of stillness and finding that grounding. I'm going to read for you guys just a little quote from Rachel Cargill, who, if you don't already follow her on Instagram, she's an amazing voice for the Black Lives Movement. She said, and you can kind of take this in as you breathe and start to listen to yourself, there are times when you literally have to give yourself permission to be okay. Times when you must have this inner dialogue in which you say to self, in the vein of sanity and the recognition of my human condition, I am flawed. I acknowledge my faults, I commit to my growth, I give myself permission to be okay in the process. It's self-care to release that burden. It's self-love to be kind to yourself unconditionally. It's a self-preservation to do this often. So take a moment to find your body in space mentally, to maybe sit with whatever emotional state you're in and let it be there, let it exist. And with every breath you take, allow it to churn up, but when you exhale, drop it down into the floor, right? So think, inhale, allowing spaces to get really amplified, and then exhale right into the feet. And you can do this by actually bringing movement down with the bend of the knees. You can do this by just dropping the weight of the shoulders, dropping the jaw. Let's just take a breath together. Exhale everything out. Breathe in through your nose. Again, letting it fill all of your spaces. And let's exhale out of the mouth. Good. Do that again. Inhale, filling up. And then exhale, grounding down. One last big one together. Inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and open the eyes if they were closed. Take another breath in. On this exhale, you're going to reach down to the ground, bend your knees, tap behind the heels, and then we're going to inhale and take a chair pose right from there. So moving right into some strengthening work for the legs. Notice the lowness of your legs does not have to go crazy down yet. Just figuring out what bending the knees and shifting the weight is like. The arms can be more in front of you. They can be wider. You can even do this stance of grabbing opposite hand, opposite elbow if that helps. But notice already coming from a moment of standing without a lot of strength necessarily to a moment of strength, can you still tap into the grounding quality of your breathing? So the inhaling into the full cage of the ribs, and then exhaling into the feet. You can really push down and lean into the toes to kind of feel the weight forward, and then lean back into the heels to feel the weight back. Let's take another breath in. On your exhale, you're going to fold over the legs completely down. And just take a moment to move into what feels good. So bending into each knee. If you're feeling especially tight, I always suggest bending more generously in the knees to get closer to the legs. And then definitely notice if the head is constantly looking down, try to let the head go. And take a moment to just move in ways that feel good. Where is your body telling you to go? Take these as usual, helping body do yoga on your mat. Oh. As you're ready, try to let the head go. Find a place for your arms, right, that you can push into for the legs of the floor. You're gonna take your first half lift. Inhale, extend the spine. Hold this one out. Soften the knees a little bit more than you might. Not like a chair pose softening, but just a little bend to get length in the spine. And then try to lift the 10 toes. Push into the fingertips wherever they are and stretch the chest forward. Scoop the low belly and hold it for 3. Lengthen. 2. On 1, drape more down your legs. Head heavy. Good. Let's do it with a breath. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, fold deeper down. Ground. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold down. And let's step back to plank pose. So we're gonna hold this to build a little bit of heat, right? Find your distance. Again, legs can be together or separate at hips width. You're gonna push the ground away and just give yourself a moment to assess your needs, right? Do you need to bring the knees down? Do you need to just bring the elbows down? Do you need to bring the whole shape down? Whatever it is, try to amplify the breath. And now you have 4 points into the ground, right? So when you're exhaling, ground not only through the feet, but through the hands themselves, through the balls of the feet behind you. Take a breath in, slide forward. Exhale, lower down, heart before your chin. Point through the feet, keep your hands where they are. Hug your elbows back. Inhale, lift your chest about halfway up. And then exhale, lower it down. Try to keep the feet connected. Inhale, lift the chest. And then exhale, lower it down. One more time. Inhale to lift. Let's hold this one. Exhale, hands up. Good. So you're maintaining the lift of the chest, the stretch, with more strength behind you rather than just leverage and strength. You can keep your hands as they are, or if you want to switch the grip up, take it to a place that resonates. Good. Lower down. Go ahead and tuck the toes under. You can use your knees or just go right to plank. We're going to go back to down dog. And then move around a little bit. Down dog should feel good for the most part. Again, if you're feeling tighter in your low back or back line in general, like hamstring, calves, just bend the knees more. Let the head go. Try to lift the toes up without necessarily straightening the knees. And think tailbone up, but low belly in. Take a full breath. And exhale. On your inhale, you're going to lift your right foot up and just step through, right in between the hands. So make sure that you've placed it right near the thumb side. So we're going more hips width distance. Then we're going to come to our high lunge. Good. So ideally, you didn't have to move this back leg too much when you stepped forward. Just try to get the heel on top of the ball of your foot. You can do arms up as such. You can do hands opposite elbow. You could do palms to press. You can even take this to a little bit of a back bend. We're going to move through this variation on a sun salutation B in a moment. So this is a good time just to kind of figure out what works for you or what feels better. Find the floor. You can always test out what's happening with the weight and your stability of this front foot by lifting the whole foot up without trying to lift the quad up or the femur bone. Let's take a breath. Exhale, hands down, step the foot back. Option to go chaturanga, halfway or all the way. Take a back bend, either cobra or up dog, and then go right back to down dog. With the exhale, your inhale steps that left foot forward. Arms up. Play with the arms a bit in the sense of they move and wrap like down dog, right? So if you're starting to feel like the shoulders are kind of coming up higher from the top, Try to soften the elbows, wrap them forward, and then straighten them and lift from the fingers. So your shoulders will lift, but not from the back, not from the top. Take another breath in. Exhale, hands down, plank. Remember, your option here will be to go back to down dog, chaturanga halfway all the way. You up dog from there, and then you go back to down dog. So we're going to put this all together with a little bit more swiftness in our breathing. As always, just breathe how you breathe, move as you move. It's not a race. Ideally, we're using it to ground, so really pay attention to your exhales. Take an inhale, push the floor away. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Half lift with the breath in. Exhale, hang, and then tap your hands back. Inhale to chair. Exhale, fold over it. Halfway lift. Exhale, plank to chaturanga. You can also go right to down dog. Inhaling if you're back bending. Exhale to down dog, bottom of the breath, step your right foot through. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hand down, foot back, lower or down dog. Back bend, inhale. Exhale, down dog, bottom of the exhale, steps left foot through. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down. Chaturanga. Down dog. Inhale, push the floor away. Exhale, walk, step, or jump. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, tap the hands back. Inhale, chair. Exhale, lengthen and fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga or down dog. Once you're back to down dog, the bottom of that exhale, left foot through. High lunge. Exhale, slow it down. Inhale, fill it up. Exhale, back to down dog. The bottom of your exhale steps your right foot through. High lunge. And then exhale again. Chaturanga. Go back to down dog. Inhale, push the ground away. Exhale, walk, step, or jump. Halfway lift. Tap back, exhale, sit down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. And exhale, chaturanga. Back bend, inhale. Back to down dog, exhale. Let's do right foot forward. High lunge, inhale. Exhale, hands down. Option to chaturanga or go to down dog. Switch legs. Left foot through. Arms up, and it's okay if you do the opposite leg. Like, there's no big deal. We're gonna do both sides again one last time. Ideally, this should just give you a bit of movement and breathing cues. Come to the front of your mat to just find moving meditation. Half lift. Chair pose. Inhale, full exhale. Halfway lift. Chaturanga vinyasa. Got one more round. The left leg will step forward right here. Left foot first. High lunge. Hands down. Foot back. Back to down dog. Right side. All the way up. Hands down. Chaturanga. Modify as needed. Down dog. Push the floor away. Come all the way to the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift. Chair pose. Pause. Okay, so it's a lot of movement, a lot of breathing. You might feel more elevated. So now we're sustaining again, which is equally as hard and challenging. Start to tap into your breathing. Right, so one tool you could use, inhaling twice through the nose, exhaling slowly out of the mouth. And that should bring your heart rate down a little bit and give you a more calm sense of stance. You're going to take your hands from there together, all 10 fingers, flip the palms, crack the knuckles, and lift them up. Your chair can go a little higher if you need to, but if you're good, keep it anchored at low, and then let's side bend to the right. Now when you're side bending, you will be in a back bend, but try to check in that you're not excessively back bending the low spine. A little scoop, not tucking under, but just a little scoop to make sure the belly is engaging. Try to push through the opposing heel, right? So we're leaning to the right. You push into that left heel quite a bit. Come up to the top, stretch higher, other side, lean. Take breaks as you need it. Now your arms may be more in front of you too. Right, push through the heels of the hands. Don't lose that wrap that down dog has taught us to find. Shift your weight into the heels. Push through that bottom arm. Good, come all the way to the top, stand up, push the ceiling away, lift, and then exhale, fold down. And heavy. Take a halfway lift. Exhale, option to Chaturanga Vinyasa or go to down dog. Okay, right from there, step your right foot through. We're going to tense the fingers next to your right foot. Kick through the back heel. And as you do this, we're going to bend the back knee without putting it down as an option. Now, if you need to put it down, totally put it down. But just let it land in a place that it almost hits the floor. And then when it's in that position, you're going to pull the chest forward even more. Imagine the front foot kicking down and pulling to the back edge of your mat. All the way. Good, take a breath in. On your exhale, you're going to kick the front foot, lift the butt back. So your front leg may be a little bent still. Back leg is straight now. Chest, if you can, try to keep it in a half lift position. Notice if your front hip is forward of your back hip. Pull that right hip in the front, or the front hip, whatever leg's forward, back. You can also lift the toes in front. Take a breath. Exhale, sink into your lunge. Now keep the back leg long and straight. Left hand down, right arm up. So your lunge, you have that 90-degree angle you're working towards in the front leg. You may have to be on a block with the bottom arm. You can also support yourself with the right hand on the knee thigh if that helps give you a little bit more leverage. Generally though, don't let your back leg hip drop too low. You can even take this top arm behind the back and lift the hip up and then push your front knee out a little bit to help you stabilize. Now option from here, tense the bottom fingers, push your front leg as straight as it will go without taking your front hand off the ground. So this is our kind of modified revolved triangle. Right hip back, left hip up. Toes in the front can lift. Take a breath. Exhale, bend the front knee, put the hands down, option to Chaturanga or go to down dog. Bottom of the exhale, step the left foot through. So initially just giving your back leg a little bit of room to find the hip flexor, to feel out the front hip. You're bending it almost to the floor, but don't put it on the ground. And then you have to, as that bends, push the ground away with the front foot and imagine it pulling back. So there's a little bit of scissoring feeling happening. And then use the leverage of your hands to stretch the chest forward. Take a big breath in. On your exhale, find the ground, push it away, lift your hips up and back. Again, now this time your back leg will straighten. Your front leg may still be a little bent. We don't want to feel like we're crowding the chest. And we want to make sure that we still have the ground through our hands. So you could also use blocks underneath the hands to get a little higher up. Maybe flexing the front toes. For me, this side tends to be a little tighter. You might feel like this is your looser side. Take a breath. Exhale, sink down into the lunge again. So the feet don't move for the most part. Right hand down underneath the shoulder. Open up to the left. Again, you can take the top arm up. You could take it to the knee. You could take it behind the back and kind of half bind it, but then lift that hip up as you make sure this front knee isn't being pushed around. And find the amplification of your breath. Fully breathe into the torso rib cage. When you exhale, use the ground. Let it energize you. From there, you can stay with this. Tense the fingers or keep the hand flat. Work your front leg straight. We're not putting the back heel down, so this makes it somewhat of a balance challenge. Try to keep your spine in line with your pelvis and try not to let that back hip drop. Chest opens. Inhale. Exhale, slowly bend, plant the hands, step the foot back, Chaturanga Vinyasa. Down dog. Inhale, push the ground away. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to your palms. Halfway lift. Exhale, tap back. Inhale, chair pose. Our favorite pose. So this time, arms can stay up if you want, or you can do hands to heart. We're going to do a little bit of stretching for the outer hip because we're about to get really into it with some glute exercises. So shift your weight to the left foot. Let's take the right ankle bone over the left and do our floating pigeon. Probably one of my favorite ones. And then you can slowly fold this. There are a lot of variations to this if you want to play with stuff. One of my favorite variations is just cradling the leg and starting to come up and standing with it. But you really have to create communication between the points at which you are engaging. Folding over the leg though too, reaching for the ground, can help prepare you for arm balancing. Slowly come back to the original floating pigeon movement. Okay, so if you've gotten a grip, unravel it. Take your two peace fingers to the right big toes. Take your left hand to your left hip. Keep your elbow and your knee together. So unless it's not touching, just try to keep these 2 points engaging towards each other energetically. Lift up. So at this point, you might be feeling quite a bit underneath the left hip. Right, left glute, left hamstring. Try kicking forward, but don't just focus on the front top leg. Try to kick down as much as you're kicking forward. Low belly is engaging. We're going to try to move this into our pistol squat. So whether this leg is straight or not, keep it bent if you need to. Slowly start to bend your bottom leg. And you're going to try to get all the way down. You can take that other arm in front of you. So eventually you'll be sitting, but you can go all the way down now. But if you can hover for a little bit and try to stay upright, do that. If you're sitting, you just keep reaching. Okay, now keep the right leg up. Let's lift the left leg with it. Hands to the ground in front of you. Palms and or fingertips. Tap your toes down. Lift your toes up. Try to keep your knees where they are. Tap your toes. Lift your legs. Tap your toes. Every time the legs lift, get them taller. Higby, lay down. Good boy. Now I'm cheating because Higby is supporting my core work. We're going to do 5 more. 4, 3, 2. Last one. Bring the feet down. Go ahead and grab your knees. You can either go from the front or the back, but try to lift your chest up the legs. So think about putting a little bit more weight in your feet. Take a breath behind your back ribs. On your exhale, you're going to keep climbing up your thigh bones. We're going to do, the next exercise we're going to do is my least favorite ever, but Gavin showed it to me, and every time we do it, my butt hurts a lot, so it must be good for me, right? My body's like, no. Okay, so what we're going to do is just go ahead and lay all the way back down, so you can kind of use your arms and your legs, or just reach. And then you're going to roll to one side. And Gavin likes to have both legs long and straight. That personally hurts my outer hip on the floor, so I bend the bottom leg, and it gives me a little bit more of a kickstand. Then all you're going to do, all you're going to do, and I like to keep one hand on my hip because my pelvis has a little bit more mobility, just to stabilize, you're going to lift one leg up and down, but not all the way to the floor, right? Up, down. We're going to do this 30 times. What? Just keep going. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the leg up. So now you're going to keep the leg in this plane of movement, and you're going to bend the knee towards your chest, and you're going to kick the leg straight. Bend, and kick it straight. So you're not letting it go up and down anymore. Push. So the ground isn't underneath your feet, but imagine pushing the ground away when you kick it. Like you have to go through the floor to get it straight. Or if it's a more of an easier image, you could think about pushing through water. This one kills me. Just remember what leg you are doing right now, because we're going to switch sides and we do the other side of the pigeon. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, 1. Roll onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Take a moment to feel the low back. We're going to do our rock and rolling to get up to a seat or to up to our forward fold again. So take your hands underneath the knees, start to let the legs move a little bit. Round through your spine. You're going to go forward and back until you can get all the way up. Use your hands if you need to. Forward fold. Head heavy. A nice bend in the knee is really helpful for that back line. Take a half lift. Exhale, tap back. Sit down, arms up, chair pose again. So again with this, hands to heart or arms up. Take the left leg over the right, floating pigeon. And oh, that's the leg I worked for the butt stretch. So this is this is interesting. So again, options. There's so many things. So please layer on with your own variations if you want. But if you want to go down, that's one. Baby cradling is another. This side is way tighter for me, so I can't go as high. Make sure you're level in your hips, as level as you can be. Make sure my mic is working. If you are upright, start to come down to the original position that I'm in. Take right hand to the hip, 2 peace fingers to the big toe. Keep this knee bent that's lifted, put it right to the ceiling. So think the rest of the hips forward without buckling the standing knee. Chest is tall. Kick out. Now this does not have to be straight up here. And balance is balance. So fall out if you need to. Nobody's judging you if you fall a lot. If anything, you're probably judging yourself the most. So try to let that go a little bit. Put it into your breath, put it into the floor. Push your legs forward and down. When you're ready to try to pistol squat, lean forward. Bend, bend, bend. You're going to try not to let the butt go to the ground. We're going to hover here. If you did land on the floor, totally fine. Just keep that left leg up. 5, 4, 3, 2, right leg up. Toes or hands in front of you, fingertips, toes up. Chest is broad, so you're going to try to resist caving into the front. Push the floor away, toe tap. Toes down, use your hands, toes up. Low abdominals, core muscles, core belly muscles. Inner thighs are working. If you could alternatively, keep going, squeeze a block between your knees too. Right, if having the legs together is too much, this gives you a little bit more to work with. Taking breaks as you need to. We're going to do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put the feet down. Again, just getting tall on your sit bones, so maybe moving the butt cheeks out of the way for a moment. Feet can be in front of you a little bit farther. Lift the chest up. Before we do our booty exercise on the other side. Put weight in your feet. Before we do that on the other side, let's just do an inverted plank or inverted bridge. So keep your feet where they are, hands behind you. And you may have to walk your feet in or out a little bit. I would open your feet to about hips with Gavin. And then you're gonna lift up your seat. And you can kind of see, like, do you feel like you're really bent in your knees? Try to get your heels underneath your knees. And then hips in line with your knees if you can. Head goes back if your neck is safe. Don't let the knees deviate out too wide. Keep them hugged in line with your heels. When you exit, you're going to back bend out. So booty down first, and then head last. Good. Okay. Start to roll down. You can use your arms if you want. All the way to the floor. You're going to switch sides. So whatever side you didn't do before. You can do legs straight if you're feeling okay with that. I feel my hip too bony and I need a little bit more support, so I'm going to do a bend of the bottom leg. Try not to stick your butt out and arch your spine, or excessively arch it. Hand to the hip, and let's go for it. Up and down. Yeah, and if you look at your hip, notice When you're just lifting your leg up and down, what other movements are you seeing? And try to stabilize so this is really isolated on top. It doesn't have to be huge, like we're not hitch kicking it up like dancer style. Very small gesture with a big impact in the muscle. You can also think and kind of play with the engagement of this. Like when I'm lifting my leg, I'm thinking outer ankle bone higher up. Big toe down. Do 10 more. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then knee into the chest, kick it out. Knee in, kick it out. I'm using my top arm against the ground to stabilize my upper body. Try not to go up and down with your leg. Take breaks, but try to keep your leg up. This side is definitely cramping up more for me. Maddie's silently suffering a little bit.
I'm trying not to move too much. I am.
We're gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, put that down, lay on your back, bring your knees into your chest. From here, bring your feet together, butterfly and grab a glove. All 10 fingers if you can. You might have to be somebody that grabs towards the ankles. You could also put a strap around your feet. You can let your butt lift to get your feet more over your chest. But then try to keep the leverage to where your butt goes down eventually, like you're trying to pull the butt to the floor, even if it doesn't get closer. Think armpits to shins. Happy baby, heels up. And you can move this around. Feel the weight of the floor underneath you pushing against your body. Take a full breath in. And exhale. Let's bring the legs back in. Do that rock and rolling. Get yourself to the point where you are sitting up. And then push the floor away. Let's come to our forward fold. Just reorient yourself as you need to. Whew. So folding over the legs again. Let's bend the knees, put a little bit more distance between your feet. So let's do like double hip width. And then from there, let's take the the left hand on the ground on the center of your chest underneath, and then just open your right arm up. So I would say if you don't have a block, totally use it if you feel like you're rounding to get to the floor. Also bend the knees more if necessary. We're going to do our arm swims. So you're going to take this top arm, you're going to flip the palm towards the front of your mat and bring the arm over the head. And then you're going to swing it back on the outside of your right foot, flip the palm, and go around your shoulder joint. So this is just a big circle. And you're going to try to isolate it so you're not moving around in your chest, you're not like just a back bending all over the place. You may have to have a circle that's more away from you too. But try to hit all points of the circle. And as you reach into your circle, reach farther away from you. Put weight into your 3 points into the ground. And notice if you're having to squeeze the toes or the fingers. Try to soften the knees and ground more through the legs. One more big circle. Hang heavy. We're going to switch sides. Right hand down. Take the arm up. Twist first. And then start your circle. So palm to the floor. Down and back. Oh yeah, I would try block. You can't get your hand flat. Hopefully it feels better.
Yeah,
It just gives you more like a tripod instead of just the two. Because you don't want to be using, for this we're trying to focus more on the range of motion of the shoulder. And we want to use the core muscles, the grounded muscles, but if we're having to grip up to try to get down, it's pushing against the movement itself. So give yourself more support for that range of motion to happen. Do one more big circle. And then hang heavy as you're ready. Slowly soften knees. Let's roll up to standing. Whew. Shrug the shoulders up and down. Take a moment to move the head and the neck. Shake it out. We're going to do a little bit of balancing. Okay, so let's do, we can do so many different ones. I'm going to give them a choice. So we can do dancer's pose, or we can do our half moon, or revolved half moon. So dancer's pose would be the one where you're kicking back, and then half moon would be this one, and then revolved half moon would be that one. Anybody? Dancer. Gavin, do you have a choice?
Half moon.
We'll do those two. Okay, so let's do the left leg up first. You're going to take your left hand out, palm up, drop your arm down, and you're going to try not to flip the wrist. Just grab your foot from the inside, face to side. Yep. Now put weight into the hand. So now you have the ground underneath your foot, underneath the ground that's actually there, and you have your hand. Your hand is now the ground. Take your other arm up to the ceiling. You're going to lift the chest. You're just going to kick. You only kick as far as you feel you're holding integrity for your base. Right, so if you start kicking and things are opening too far, roll that standing hip back and lift through the chest. Now if you're doing a more true to form dancer, you're probably not going to go down as far, and you're going to keep this kind of chalice-y shape in the position. If you're doing more of a standing bow from Hatha, you're going to try to kick to a standing split, but not by losing the integrity of this base. So the leg can go as high up to the ceiling as possible until it's in a straight line. But you have to breathe. That's always the challenge of balance. Release this side. Shake it out. Okay, other side. Left, right arm out. Palm down. We lost our Facebook feed, but I don't know what happened. Left arm out. Go ahead and start to kick. So let's try to play with breathing on this one. When you're inhaling as much as you can, think inhale from your bottom lowest front V of the rib cage up to the collarbone through the left arm. And when you exhale, kick into the legs both equally. Last breath. Release. Take it out. Okay, so to get into our half moon, this is kind of, usually this is a nice one to transition into with shapes, but we're just going to go for it. We're going to take the hands to the hips. You're going to take the left leg back, keep it on the ground. You're going to slowly start to go down like you're going into a T shape. About a quarter of the way there, start to take your left hand and roll that hip open. From there, lift up on the front of the quad of your standing leg. Let the knees soften a little bit, especially if you tend to buckle it back. Reach for the ground. And if you have a block, totally use it. You can go all the way down and have that block there to support you, other arm up. Now we did a little bit of twisting already with our revolved triangle variation today, so if you did want to just play with that from this, you would just roll the top hip back to a level position and twist the chest open. If balance is challenging for you, you could also take a wall behind you and use it like this. There's also the variation where we grab the foot and we kick back, but try not to go up. It would go behind you. Release, and then let's roll up to standing. Almost there. We're going to do a little stretching after this, I promise. Hands to hips, right toe back, chest up. Start by just tilting so the top of the head and the foot are kind of moving in a similar plane. When you get about a quarter to a halfway there, roll your right hip open. And then reach for a block or the floor, if at all. Yeah, like your standing may have to be a little bent to grab the floor. Blocks can give you more of a straighter standing leg. Top arm up. Maybe you're taking the foot here. Maybe you're deciding to twist it instead, so you square the hips and open the chest. And even here you can kind of see I have my back foot down as I'm opening this one up, so I have 3 points of contact on the ground. This is a great modification. You can even do that with the half moon too. Just keep that standing knee a little bent if you're doing the back foot down. Last breath. Release. Pull out of it. Shake it out. Shake it loose. Okay, take a half lift. Option to Chaturanga Vinyasa or just go right to down dog. And now, Pigeon. So let's take the left leg first. So you're gonna bring your knee to the outer elbow, foot to the front of the right hip. Shift your weight back. Use a block to prop yourself up if necessary. And then just give into the floor. If you're taking on variations like grabbing the back foot and the knee, play with stuff. Just be safe. Notice your resistance. If you feel yourself pulling away from the stretch, give yourself more support instead. And so support might mean exiting it too, not just prop use. Take another big inhale. Ground with your exhale. And then shift out of this. Take a few moments to see if you want to do anything else before we move to the other side. So if you want to take that mermaid or the full-cane pigeon or move around, you can also take a Chaturanga Vinyasa here as an option. I will be personally just switching. If you do feel like this side has more knee pain or something, modify and do like the floating pigeon leg on your back against a wall. Take another breath in and breathe out. You will shift into any of those variations you may have played with, just a few more moments. Last opportunity to take your Chaturanga Vinyasa. When you're done, let's go ahead and bring both legs forward and let's lay down, find the back. And then we're going to do bridge and wheel. So 2 sets. Choose bridge for both, wheel for both, whatever you want. Same alignment as our inverted plank earlier. Lift the hips up. Think of this like a lengthening movement for the front line of the legs. Use the arms if it's helpful against the ground. You can use your mat. Lower down, booty first. Move the legs a little bit if it helps. Second set, same thing, or if you're taking wheel, hands will go by the shoulders. Go ahead and lift up. Last breath. Slowly lower. Go ahead and bring the legs in, give yourself a hug. Keep your right leg in, extend your left leg long. Let's twist. Scoot your butt back so you're staying in line with your hips and shoulders. Return to center. Switch sides. And bring both legs in. Then the other leg long. Go ahead and bring it all back in. This is the point. If you have anything else you want to do, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, start to find Shavasana. If you're taking Shavasana, you're going to bring your legs long and your arms out by the sides. As always, we are not going to come out of meditation in our video, so if you want to set a timer for your meditation and stillness in Shavasana, definitely do that. But I encourage you to take time in there, right? Especially if you don't already have a separate meditation practice just for stillness, utilize this moment, because it sometimes can be easier after moving the body and like really connecting to the body and space through movement to find less chaos in your stillness. Just keep doing the work, right? The work, it's ongoing. Right? It's always happening, and it's important. Practice self-care so that you can practice supporting others. Let's exhale everything out. Take a big breath, expand yourself. And then exhale, ground. Thanks for practicing with us, guys. Namaste.
Namaste.